Thank you, Senator Gardner. Chief Tidwell, let me go back again to the Tongass and the transition issue. I mentioned in my opening comments my concern that this transition only works if you have those that are able to stay in the business. We've had this conversation before, and I appreciate that the Forest Service has stuck with the big thorn sale. That's going to hopefully keep enough timber out there to keep things alive into next year, but I do remain concerned about the future. In 2015, you sold no old growth at all. So far this year, in 16, you're planning to sell just 51 million board feet, unless some kind of a revised Wrangell Island sale comes out of this. But looking out to 2017 and beyond, old growth sale planning is pretty much non-existent, with the focus entirely on preparing for young growth sales. So every year when we sit down in this public forum, I raise the question to you: what do I say to people back home? What can I tell the folks at Viking about how the Forest Service intends to keep them alive and other mills alive, given that really the source of timber that they could count on, and to pay for any investment, much less encouraging the people who are working, whether at Viking or others, encourage them to stay there. So what can you tell me that will be encouraging to the men and women in Southeast that continue to depend on a supply of timber?
You know, Senator, I think our transition to young growth over time is the solution. To be able to provide that certainty, to provide that bridge timber, to reach agreement that yes, there will be bridge timber made available.
But what do we do in the short term? Because you say over time, and I'm saying, okay, we can talk about it over time, but how do we keep them alive till then? Because the outline that I've given you is we've got timber that we can look to this year that keeps us alive through next, but how do you see their future after that?
Well, we're continuing to move forward with our annual timber program while we're doing this. And so for in FY16, the target for the Tongass is 62 million board feet. And it's my understanding they're committed to get that done.
Are you aware, Chief, though, that you know, in order to keep this transition alive, we've got to rely not only on what's coming off of the Forest Service lands, but also off of non-federal. And what I understand Alaska has told you as recently as just last week is that they're going to have a difficult time continuing economic operations, and that they're going to be seeking to supplement their timber supply with sales from the Tongass. They tell me that they're going to need to buy 20 million board feet annually for perhaps 30 years for the Tongass. So how do you make this all work? How do you make this all work, not just for this year and not just for 17, but if Alaska is saying that they're going to need 30 years, and you're suggesting that you're going to be able to have 62 million board feet, how does this all pencil out?
Well, it starts by the folks in Alaska are working together, the state, Alaska, folks on the Tongass, and folks from the Mental Health Trust, to be able to look at how we can have really an all lands approach, so that there is going to be X amount that's available for the industry, and actually work together. And this is something that you could say we should have been doing a better job in the past. However, we're looking at how we can do a better job as we move forward. And then based on that, to be able to have the coordination between the programs. But it's essential that we're able to produce. And I wouldn't be up here telling you that I without any question, I believe this approach that over time to transition to the young growth is the solution to be able for us to continue to provide that integrated wood products industry in Southeast Alaska. And yes, we're going to have to continue to have the bridge timber. We're going to also have to be moving forward with some young growth to be able to start giving operators the chance to be able to explore markets, with that young growth. And so that is our course. That is
Well,
our plan over time to be able to do this.
I understand that it is a plan over time, and again, I am trying to make something that works beyond the paper plan, because on paper, it might be possible. But again, you can't push this young growth timber to grow any quicker. It cannot be a fantasy plan. It has to be based on accurate analysis and assessment and a reality on the ground. And I continue to have the same concerns that I have had. I will continue to express them, and it's not because I'm sitting back here in Washington, D.C., reading some talking points. It's because I'm talking to the people that are on the ground, that are out in the communities, that are on Prince of Wales Island, who do not believe that they have the capacity to hang on much longer. And they hear the good plans, and they believe that it's nothing but pie in the sky. And the effort, again, for these families that have worked it so hard for so many decades and are not asking for the timber industry that was around 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They're asking to just be working with the facts. I'm going to ask one more quick question and then turn to my colleague here, and this is regarding the proposed new forest-wide standards and guidelines to address the renewable energy development within the Tongass and the transition plan. You know that I had pushed for this last year, continue to do so, but what we're seeing is guidelines that appear to be pretty simplistic looking, pretty vague, and therefore it causes me to question how effective they can be. Does the Forest Service plan to utilize an approach that would give greater clarity, more consistent, enforceable guidelines through an approach that has been considered to provide for a renewable energy LUD? Because the issue that I'm hearing is that what the Forest Service is proposing just doesn't provide enough clarity, that there is ambiguity that's not going to be helpful to folks.
So, Senator, are you referring to the alternatives
Yes.
in the Forest Plan Amendment?
Yes.
Well, that's one of the benefits for the comments that we received, and I wanted to thank you for your letter, that very well-written letter.
It was a good letter. Thank you.
And it's part of the comments, and as we go through those are the things we're going to be addressing. But those are the things, the feedback that we need on the plan, if there's things we need to change. That being said, we have, I know that we have at least 5 projects that are approved or under construction. There's another 7 hydro projects that we're working with FERC to try to get through, plus I think another dozen that we're still looking to start the analysis on. So we're moving forward. So we're not waiting, for the Forest Plan Amendment. We're going to continue to be able to work with folks to be able to move forward, to be able to implement those hydro projects.
Well, I would ask you to look to making sure that these standards, these guidelines really do what we're hoping, which is to help facilitate the renewable energy development projects that we're talking about. Let me turn to Senator Cantwell.